What is up, true believers? It's Mason here with Comics and Crosses, where we discuss the eternal truths behind our modern mythology. And today I wanted to talk about a title that I absolutely love. Bliss is back. I know it came out like a week ago or whatever, but life is very busy right now. I apologize for a lack of content on the channel. I am working on getting as efficient as I can here, and I just had to take a moment to talk about Bliss. Issue 5, Sean Lewis, Caitlin Yarsky, one of my favorite titles out right now. Let's chat about it. So Bliss has returned, and we are seeing Benton going through a healing process, a rehabilitation. We see a rehabilitation center, and I love the artwork. I love the creativity. If I can ever write a comic book that is illustrated by Caitlin Yarsky, I will be a happy man. Like, that is on my bucket list. Caitlin, if you're watching, one day we will work together, and I promise you will love it. I promise. Because your work inspires me. It's so creative, so interesting. The characters are so full of life, so expressive. And so, and that's only half of the story, because I've always loved this story, the creativity from Sean Lewis. I'm a big fan. So anyway, I'll stop gushing for a moment to say I wanted to talk about Bliss issue 5 from a Christian perspective review kind of, point, as I do. So I think that this story is very rich. There's a lot of moral dilemma, obviously, for our main character. He gets into a morally questionable situation because of love for his son. I mean, so that right there, I think a lot of people have done things. I mean, there's the classic film, The Bicycle Thief, about a guy who's making his living, delivering on a bicycle. And I mean, this is like, we're talking, I don't know, was this a silent film? It's super old, but learned about it in film school. And a guy who gets his bicycle stolen and tries to catch a thief, and eventually, by the end of the film, becomes a bicycle thief himself because he has to make do and do what he has to do. So, similar idea here, one of those kind of time-old tales. Not necessarily a biblical kind of idea in that sense. I mean, obviously, there's things about personal responsibility in the Bible, but there's not really a sort of, a lot of people think there's an idea of justified sin, but actually, the idea of God is that He is all pure. Like, imagine fire. It's purifying. It's a force of energy, and anything that touches it that is impure, that is not fire itself, is going to get incinerated. Eventually will burn and dissolve and be, purified in a sense. So, so there is no idea from a Christian perspective, I think, of justified sin or this or that. I mean, there are definitely gray issues in life, but and I think that's where some of the beauty is some of this grayness, and Sean's playing with some ideas of redemption, which is certainly a Christian principle, Christian idea, I think that what's most compelling to me is the idea of bliss itself. Is this this drug, this product that allows people to forget. And now what's super compelling in this issue is taking that fascinating idea about something you take, you cry out your memories, and it kind of relieves you from the pain for a bit. A quick fix. I think society at large, deals with this, whether it's with food, sex, hobbies, gambling, addiction, things like that. I mean, there are a lot of things, not even things that are extreme, but also just things that are day-to-day that are quick reliefs from pain that we're dealing with. So obviously there's a lot of comparisons you could draw in the case of this drug Bliss. But then in issue 5, seeing this rehabilitation center, this place that Benton finds, and where people are doing the hard work of actually gaining their memories back that they tried to get rid of, and actually dealing with, coping with their issues that cause them pain that they would just as easily drink away, I think is very profound. It was really cool. Oh, maybe I should have said at the beginning of this video, spoiler warning, but hey, it's a review of issue 5, so you should have read issue 5. And I mean, that's really how it is in life. I mean, you can do a lot of things to make your feelings or your pain or the things you're dealing with quickly go away. You could drink, you could do drugs, you could do something exciting to distract yourself. But when it comes to actually dealing with things, it's a long, painful road. A pastor friend of mine once said, nothing heals until it becomes real. And that is definitely the case as illustrated here in Bliss. And it's neat to see it play out in this fantasy kind of setting where things are very creative. It's a whole different world. You got these weird swamp things, and then there's this god, this godlike figure, this woman who actually now has become sort of tricked and become addicted to these memories that people get rid of, and sort of examining their lives and living through them. So, and the confrontation between Benton and her, I mean, it's interesting to see that dynamic, of human versus God, or God's made in our image. This is not really a good reflection of the all-powerful creator, the Judeo-Christian God, Yahweh, Elohim, if you will. So anyhow, I'm just sharing my thoughts, and obviously I'm for this title. I like it. I think there's some great things about redemption, or even just working through pain was kind of the biggest thing that I took away from it. I'm glad that Sean chose to show a path of recovery and working to get unnumb. I think that was the most profound thing about this, working your way out of numbness, which I think a lot of us live in. We're attached to technology, and there's so many things, giving us endorphins or just feeding us into a state of happiness that we kind of crash, and it's work to kind of get back in touch with the physical world, is it not? So Bliss continues to have my high recommendation. I hope you enjoyed this issue. Maybe you'll agree with me on some of these ideas, some of the things I'm seeing here in the pages of Bliss, and maybe you won't. But either way, comment on it. Love to have you here at the channel commenting, giving me your feedback, and maybe what you take away from this cool, very visually interesting and a thought-provoking story. So thanks so much for tuning in, guys. I'll check you next time, and peace.